In this, our last video of 2024, we, along with AI Presidents Trump and Biden, will break down the NFL Week 15 main slate as we build full cash lineups on DraftKings and FanDuel, and it's coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Eric, good to see you again. Welcome to another week of Fantasy Football Consultants. How you feeling? How you feeling right now?
Hey, as a Seattle Seahawks fan, I'm about as excited as I've ever been this late into the season. Huge win over Arizona, but they still have a very tough schedule. So I'm hoping that we can talk about them when we do our playoff preview show right before Wild Card Week.
And that's when we'll be back, folks. So keep on the lookout for that. We're going to take a little hiatus for a bit. Should we get right into it, Eric?
Exactly. We have four common players that we like the pricing on both DraftKings and FanDuel, and let's reveal them now. They're both part of our cash lineups on both sites. Michael, who's the first of our four?
Eric, coming off this fantastic Monday night performance by Jamar Chase, we have to get him in our lineup. He looks phenomenal right now. 14 receptions for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns against what is considered one of the better defenses against wide receivers right now. Yes, he's 8,400 on DraftKings and 9,400 on FanDuel, but he's going up against Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, who are 19th versus the pass. And I got 3 numbers for you: 5, 3, and 1. He's 5th in targets, 3rd in receptions, and number 1 in TDs for wide receivers. Got to get this guy in your lineup. He is clicking right now. He looks great. He's healthy, and Joe Burrow's swinging the pass. And they still have a 0.6% chance of making the playoffs, and that's only going to be made possible with their offense continuing to hit on all cylinders, and going against Tennessee is the perfect matchup for that.
Certainly got a stud in Chase, but we got to save some money after that big dollar pick. So I'm going to go with running back Rico Dowdle. $6,100 on DraftKings and $7,100 on FanDuel. Look, in the last 3 weeks, Dowdle has gotten 18 of the 20 cornerback carries, 22 of the 26, and 19 of the 22. Clearly, the Dallas Cowboys are in the mode of seeing what this rookie running back can do. Why? Because they already know what Ezekiel Elliott can do. I don't know, collect Social Security checks. I mean, this is all about Dowdle. Now, we're not just getting a bell cow back at a great price. We get him against a bad Carolina team that is dead last against running backs this year. So let's roll the dice and get Dowdle in the lineup.
Yeah, Dowdle is one of just a few guys who are really on the field for most of the plays on the offensive side. There's 2 other guys who I think of who kind of been under the radar this year, and it's Chase Brown and the guy who I think I want to go with this week, which is Chuba Hubbard. He continues to be priced low, even though he's the only guy in the NFL getting 30 touches a game a couple of times. He's 6,500 on DraftKings, 7,500 on FanDuel, going up against. I said Dallas was decent against the pass. Guess where they've been bad? Against the run. So Chuba Hubbard, even in games where they've been, a dog, he's been getting plenty of touches, gets in the end zone. Got to get him in at this price in our fantasy lineups.
Yeah, he's so great. And one of the reasons is the sad situation with Jonathan Brooks, who's been out most of the year. He finally comes back and then he gets hurt again. So, but let's take advantage of that. And the last of our 4 common players is wide receiver Quentin Johnson. $5,000 on DraftKings and $5,900 on FanDuel. Like your Chuba Hubbard pick, this pick is hopefully taking advantage of an injury to the number 1 wide receiver on the Chargers, Ladd McConkey. You gotta watch his health. He is battling not 1, but 2 injuries to his knee and his shoulder. And as we are reporting today on Wednesday, it looks more likely than not that he will not play. If he is out, I really like the Quentin Johnson pick. If McConkey plays, I like it, but not as much. Without McConkey, Johnson got 7 targets last week. That's close to a season high. Now, Herbert got banged up in the last game, but he is good to go. And they face Tampa Bay, the same Tampa Bay team that is 30th ranked against the pass. So, those are our 4 common players. I want to take this opportunity to remind everybody that if you'd like to support the show, it doesn't cost you anything, really helps us out. Smash that like button and share your comments in the comment section about who you like in Week 15's main slate. And if you haven't yet, please do us a favor, a Christmas gift. Smash that red subscribe button. Let's go to DraftKings. We'll do FanDuel later in the show. Let's fill out the rest of our cash lineup on DraftKings.
All right, Eric, here we are on DraftKings. We got 24,000 remaining, so 4,800 per player. So we got to be a little bit cost conscientious. Where do you want to get us started?
You know what? This sounds like a very difficult job given our financial situation. Why don't I bring on 2 experts? That is right. AI President Trump and AI President Joe Biden to take us through our next pick. I hear it's at tight end.
Thank you, Eric Lee and Michael Wiley. It's your favorite president, Donald Trump, back to make the Fantasy Football Consultants YouTube channel great again. I'm taking a break from my cabinet picks to make a DraftKings pick. My pick is really smart. At $2,600, it is stone smart of the Los Angeles Chargers. With fellow Charger tight ends, Will Dissly doubtful to play, and Hayden Hurst probably still out. Stone smart should be huge, given his small salary. Hey, sleeping Joe Biden, what do you think of my pick?
Hey, Donald, that's the first pick that you have made that I like. And I have seen all your cabinet picks. Look, folks, here's the deal. Smart is a home favorite with a 24 implied total. He plays against a Tampa Bay defense that is ranked 25th versus tight ends. No joke.
All right. Well, thank you, President Trump and President Biden, AI style. Where are we going to go from here, Michael, after we select smart?
Well, I don't know if I can compete with that in terms of explanation, and certainly not in terms of price. Nice bargain there. I'm going to try and be thoughtful on cost, but I can't quite be as thoughtful because we got a true number 1 at the wide receiver position, not quite price as high. He's right there at the top of your list. He just moved away at $6,200 going up against Kansas City, who's been 20th against wide receivers against the pass this year. It's Jerry Jeudy, clear number 1 in Cleveland ever since Amari Cooper has moved on. And with Jameis Winston at the helm, he's certainly been benefiting. You know, you see what he did against Denver when that revenge game. Didn't quite repeat that against Pittsburgh, who's been really tough against the pass. But still, 5 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown is nothing to sneeze at. And look what he's just done the last 5 games. He's clearly a top talent. We always knew he would be. Cleveland seems to be a good home for him. This is probably going to be a good in-game environment because he's at home, and they're going to be probably likely playing from behind. And Jameis Winston, doesn't matter what's going on. He likes to put the ball up in the air, which will benefit Jeudy and benefit this pick as a very high floor.
Yeah, and remember, folks, something that we say in our master class. Tillman, one of the chief competitors for targets to Jerry Jeudy, is in concussion protocol, which means he either may not play at all or he's coming out of concussion protocol, which generally players don't do as well. So I really like this Jerry Jeudy pick. And you just mentioned Jameis Winston. So let's talk about him at quarterback. We've got to save some money here, folks. And so when we're looking down here, by far the guy that seems most interesting to me is Jameis Winston at $5,500. You said it, they're at home. Not a great implied total, I admit it, at 21, but a solid over and under. And so I think he is going to be passing. And this Cleveland offense has just been so much better at producing points with Winston at the helm as opposed to Deshaun Watson. And look what Winston has done. In the last 4 games, he has averaged 25 DraftKings points. That's way more than you should expect with a guy with a salary of $5,500.
Yeah, here in DraftKings, where there's a bigger differential between quarterbacks at the top and here in the middle, really nice floor at this price. Thanks for saving us that money. I'm not going to save us money for the defensive position because there's not a lot of exciting picks unless you're willing to spend too much. So that allows us to put in the flex spot a running back that I already hinted at. And that's Chase Brown going up against Tennessee, who's 21st against running backs. He's $7,200 on DraftKings. So scroll up just a bit. There you go. And guys, he is number 7 of all the running backs in terms of targets. And that's with him coming on strong of late. He cost me my playoff life, even though I was number 1 in points in our home league. Because he had a good game, even though I had Jamar Chase going up against him on Monday night. He really is a target hog, and he's clearly the bell cow. He's really one of just a few running backs that's getting all of the touches for the most part. Yeah, every once in a while P. Ryan comes in, but it's very, very limited. What a change for the Bengals in terms of running back usage out of the backfield since they moved away from the the running back. Sorry,
Joe Mixon?
Yeah, Joe Mixon, who clearly wasn't getting the right utilization the last couple of years while he was with Cincinnati.
What's crazy is it's one of those moves that really helped everybody involved. I mean, Joe Mixon is having a great year in Houston. I'd like to say that he's someone who I strongly considered at home against Miami in our lineup. He's just a lot more expensive, and we couldn't afford him at $7,800. Instead, we're going with Chase squared in our lineup. Double Chase between Jamar and Brown. All right, so our defense, we have $2,500 left. Look, folks, here we go into our dumpster dive, but we've got a lot of different choices, and surprisingly, Michael, for my money, I actually like some of the choices at the bottom more than the ones at $2,500. Let's just get it out. If I was going to be a defense I really liked, I'd have to be up around 2,800 with Pittsburgh, or Dallas at 2,800 is also good given that they're playing Carolina. But of the ones that we can afford, I'm picking the Cleveland Browns. Now, remember, when you're looking at a defense, it's not, you usually get most of your points not because you hold a team down to shut a team out or below 7 points. It's because the team puts pressure on the opposing offense and hopefully creates some turnovers. And that's one thing that the Browns do. Thanks to led by Myles Garrett. They are 13th in the NFL in sacks with 33. And look, you say, but they play Kansas City. Isn't that a horrible matchup? Well, no, not horrible. Not at least based on the stats. They're 13th ranked in passing offense. Like I said, they're at home. And, it's just I don't like the other options, Michael. I really like Arizona, but they're at $3,000. So I will say that what do we want to do with that extra $300? I'll just say we'd had a discussion at quarterback. If you want to pivot off Winston, you can think about Anthony Richardson. With his running ability, he provides a nice floor, or just stack that $300 and let's see how the week develops. Maybe some more opportunities for savings based on injuries develop, and you'll want to utilize that $300.
Exactly. So I like it. Let's go with this. Let's run with it, and we'll see whether there's any other bargains that might come up. Should we move over to FanDuel?
Sounds great. All right, here on FanDuel, we have $6,000 on average left to spend. Michael, how are we going to do it?
Well, I alluded to this a little bit when I was talking about your pick for Jameis Winston, who is someone to consider here on FanDuel as well. Let's start at the quarterback position, but since the differential's not quite the same on FanDuel and quarterbacks, I feel like getting someone like Lamar Jackson in, coming off a bye week, going up against the Giants, who are 28th against the pass, somebody who really has one of the highest floors He's right there, not quite with what you've seen from Josh Allen of late, but look what he has done kind of week in and week out this year. He's really bounced back, giving, another potential MVP season. Although I think Josh Allen probably kind of has it in the bag as of right now. And so he's a little bit, priced a little bit nicer than Josh Allen. So let's get him in the lineup. But I've spent some money, Eric, so you're going to have to save some.
All right, so because you spent some money, I need to be a little cost conscious. Let's move over to tight end. And at tight end, I'm actually going to pick a guy who I think could arguably be the best tight end in the NFL, but he's only priced at number 4 right now. It is at 6,500, David Njoku. I got a question for you, Michael. Do you know, especially in the last 2 weeks, where David Njoku did all his Christmas shopping? You know?
No, where's that?
He did it at a very famous store, Target, because it is all about targets for David Njoku. 17 targets 2 weeks ago and 13 targets the previous week. But it's not just that he's getting targets, he's getting high value targets in the red zone. 3 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. And he faces the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 31st against tight ends. He's just too cheap not to pick.
Yeah, no, nice pick. He really is a star athlete. Let's get him in there. We'll save some money in some of these other spots. So at the wide receiver position, I'm going to go way down the list. $4,700, staying in the same game because, just can't get enough of Jameis Winston. Let's see, where are we at? $4,700. I'm just going down and down and down. And here we have Elijah Moore going up against Kansas City as well, where you're taking advantage of all the things you just said. Yes, he's not a number 1, but he's priced like a number 3. And you already talked about Tillman being in the concussion protocol. So let's take advantage of that. Hey, look at, he's had a couple of high target weeks as well. Got a nice little decent floor there for somebody priced so low. Somebody who's not that clear number 1. So we're not the number 1.
It's been fun this year, Michael, on FanDuel, that FanDuel includes the Sunday night game. So let's take advantage of that. It's my Seattle Seahawks hosting the Green Bay Packers on Sunday night. And in the flex position, Michael, this guy has just aged like fine wine this year. Zach Charbonnet at $6,700. Let's get him in our lineup with one huge caveat. The huge caveat is we need to follow the health of Ken Walker III. Earlier this week, it looked like it was certainly going to be out. Now it's a question mark. If Walker is out, definitely dial up for 6,700 Zach Charbonnet. Without Walker last week, he got 29 targets. 29 targets, Michael. Playing at home against Green Bay, against a Green Bay defense that is 25th ranked against running backs with no competition if Walker is out. Really like it. Now, I will say that if Walker is deemed healthy and will be playing in this game, then you're going to get a split roll. And I'm not as happy. You might look at $100 less Ramondre Stevenson. He's a guy who has been totaling up a lot of targets, greater than 20 targets in 3 of the last, touches, greater than 20 touches in 3 of the last 4 games. Do I like him as much as Charbonnet? Absolutely not if Walker is playing. But if Walker is playing, that's a decent pivot.
Yeah, I think Charbonnet, again, someone else had to go up against this week. Last week, he's clearly probably the best price guy in here if all the things that you just said are true. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been used more by Seattle. He seems to be quite capable. But it's not capable? Our budget. We don't have much money left at the defensive position. So it's basically we're between the Giants, the Patriots, and the Titans. And I look at who they're going up against, and I remember, hey, the Titans actually get a few sacks. So, not a whole lot of excitement here. It's tempting to think what happened to the Patriots. Didn't they used to have a pretty good defense? I will say Arizona looked pretty bad this last week, and I do wonder whether or not Kyler Murray's heart is in it. But just in case it is, I like going up against Cincinnati a little better with the defense that has had moments of rushing the passer.
Could be that Arizona was going up against a really tough team last week.
Sure, that was all it was, is that they were just distraught by how challenging a game it will be. Good luck to you, Eric. It's going to be finishing out.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, folks, that wraps up our FanDuel lineup and wraps up our coverage for 2024. Don't forget to put in the comment section any of your thoughts for week 15. We want to hear it. And any ideas that you would like for content during the NFL playoffs. I want to wish Michael, you, and all of our FFC community a very safe and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. We'll put up 2 videos we think you'll enjoy.